Hello, successful and soon to be successful traders. Chris Capri here, secondsguysforex.com. So, this next lesson in our trading mindset section of the APA course is about building confidence for success in trading and life. When I look at people as a whole, when I talk to people, or when I read their emails, as a whole, I generally do not see confidence. I generally see a lack of it, or not a fresh supply of it available. And this is something I can personally relate to because I would probably say the first few decades of my life, I was not confident in myself and my abilities. And that had a major effect on my performance, far greater than I actually realized until well after. And when I look at my life, my early portion of my life, where I was what I would consider an underperformer, a huge portion of this had to do with confidence. And so this is something that is critical. I recently had this tweet that I posted. And for those of you not subscribed to my Twitter account, make sure you do, because I post all kinds of great stuff on there. I recently posted this quote, which was, if you don't feel like you can make money on the next trade, then you've already lost. What this tweet is talking about is mindset, trading without worry, and about confidence. And it's absolutely crucial that confidence becomes not something you manufacture, but it becomes an inner part or a part of your inner reality. It becomes a fact of your existence. And the thing about it is that most likely you probably should be more confident than you are now. Lamentably, there is a whole lot in our familiar, in our environmental, and our cultural conditioning that is somewhat by design and somewhat unintentional, but a result nonetheless. There's a lot of things that we are exposed to that imprint upon us that do not help us become confident, that do not create confident people. And you can see this from media to advertising to commercials to, there's all kinds of stuff, to TV. It's in everything. And, you'll have to go on kind of a certain diet from these types of things to help reduce their effect upon you and your life, because most of that stuff doesn't help. For myself personally, I went on a diet back in 1995 on all this stuff. That's when I got rid of my TV and got rid of my TV subscriptions, and that was that. I haven't had a cable subscription or TV since then. Actually, I do have one TV, but it has no connection to cable or anything. We can only watch movies on it. That's it. For myself and my personal journey, how did this shift? How did this... If you were to hear me 20 years ago, you probably wouldn't even recognize me. You wouldn't, and you would see someone who is either not confident or who is overly confident for the wrong reasons in a very reckless way. And you would not hear that person say the things that I say now, or think the things that I think now, or be the way that I am now. But for myself, how did it happen for me? Through some incredibly unlikely scenarios, some really strange situations, I ended up discovering what it is to build real confidence. And we talk endlessly upon this in the ATM course and all the different methods that you can do that will build confidence to where you eventually have an unshakable confidence, or one that just doesn't get shaken or is unstirred. And you'll learn what it is to have real confidence. But for myself personally, confidence didn't come from me getting what I wanted. It came from me not getting what I wanted and then finding a way to make it happen. by not getting what I wanted, I had to dig deep and find my inner resources, which, only until I really, okay, I gotta figure this out. I gotta solve this. I got to make this happen because this is a bad situation, and I need to figure out a way to make this work, to get out of this situation. And in those moments, I dug deep and was able to find my inner resources. And by doing that, I was able to use certain methods which helped me solve, get past, and succeed in these high intensity situations. And this is something that you can learn. And I'm going to give you 3 tips or 3 things that I use to help me build confidence from these really challenging situations. So it's important for us to just understand that without confidence, you'll have no chance to succeed in trading or life. There are many things you can do to build confidence in trading, in yourself, particularly how to win in your mind first. That's a lesson actually we just spent a long time on in the ATM course, winning in your mind first. But for this lesson, I'm going to focus on 3 simple tips that you can use to help build confidence in yourself in trading and life. So let's get into these 3 things. So the first is contextual experience. There's that word context again. So what do I mean by contextual experience? Contextual experience means a relevant experience to you're doing something now and you have some relevant experience in the past of you doing something successful like that. Now, for example, some people have this thought, man, I don't know how to win. I don't know how to make money trading, which is really interesting because it's highly unlikely that from day one till now, every single trade you made was a loss. I'm sure you've made good trades, and I'm sure you've had trades that won. Those trades that you executed correctly from a mental standpoint, that you execute your trading plan, you did everything right, you made money trading, that is a contextual experience. Now, it's important that we use these experiences and we remind ourselves of these experiences to help us build this belief that, hey, if I've done something before in the past, I can do it again. There's very few things that you will do in your life that you'll do just once that you could never do again. It's very rare. If you were to look at all the things you've done in your life, there are very few things you've done successfully that you could never repeat. It's very rare. If you have done something successful in the past, you have obviously the capacity to do it again successfully in the future. And this is important that we remember these things, because by remembering these things and by focusing on these things and kind of bringing up these experiences to us, they communicate to our minds, hey, I can do this. I've done this before. I have the skill set. I have the capacity. I'm not completely incapable. I have made winning trades before. I have done this. I have done that. They build the initial seeds of belief that I've done this before. And the brain is very good at relying upon past experiences to do current tasks. It does it very efficiently. Once it learns how to do something, it can generally repeat that. You don't really have to think about what it takes to drive your car. The difference with trading is it's based upon like so many other rules and variables and kind of unstable situations or unpredictable situations that it makes it a little bit more challenging for us. It threatens the very nature of how we do things. You know, so many things that we repeat on a daily basis, we have belief and confidence that we can do those things because the conditions upon which we execute them are relatively stable. Trading's a little bit different. It kind of turns that on its head. And it's this instability that constantly probes our belief in ourselves that we can do this. If we focus on the instability, we won't have the belief. But if we focus on the things that we've done successfully in the past, this can build the seeds of belief that we can do it in the future. And it's very important that you have this. It also helps to strengthen the neural networks in your brain around that particular behavior. If you're constantly thinking about all the things you've done wrong, those are the neural networks you are strengthening in your brain. But if you can remember these experiences you've done successfully in the past, they can build a contextual experience for you to do in the future. They build the seeds of belief. Now, some of you are asking, what if I don't have that experience? Great question. So maybe you don't have the experience of doing something. So how can I have the belief or confidence in that? It's an excellent question. So anytime I am in a new situation where I don't have really a context or experience for it, I go back and start remembering past successes. I start looking for problems that I've solved in the past that were similar to this situation. I look at what solutions worked back then. What methods did I use or apply to solve that situation? What practices did I use to build the skills and the mindset to make that happen? Most likely, I haven't found anybody yet that has disproved this, but most likely you have succeeded in overcoming something in the past. You've succeeded at probably something. And it may not be any big achievement. It may not be like school or sports or finance, but maybe you've overcome something. Contextual experience can also be used in the method of relying upon other experiences that have similar relationships to your current experience. And remembering those things that you did, the methods, the tactics, the strategies, the mindset, and the practices you use to solve that. That can help to build your contextual experience. It's very important that we use these in these situations because, again, if you've overcome something challenging in the past and you're facing a new difficult situation in the future, I'm constantly facing difficult situations in my life. Constantly. I'm constantly facing challenges because I'm constantly challenging myself. And I'm taking on things all the time. Things that I have no experience in. Things that I have no training in. And yet I'm able to figure out a way because I can rely upon my past experience. I can look back upon that and say, okay, how did I solve something similar to this in the past? Well, I did this, this, and this. Okay, let's start trying that. Let's start plugging away at this and see what can we unloosen or in this problem. What can we unlock or decode here? Or what can we kind of smooth out a little bit? So first part of building confidence is to create that seed of belief and to remind ourselves that we have solved things like this in the past. We have overcome challenges. We have faced difficulties like this and figured them out. And there's no reason why we can't do that with this situation. So contextual experience is one of the first things you can do to build confidence. Because if you do this enough times, you'll have a certain confidence that you can handle future situations, even though you have no idea how they may pan out or turn out or what may unfold. Number 2. Focus on what you can control. So many times when I hear students complaining or worrying or being fearful or whatever, they're focusing on things they cannot control. And this is a completely futile and useless endeavor for your mindset. If you cannot control it, there's nothing you can do about it. So where should you redirect that energy? You should redirect it towards the things you can control. Most people who lack confidence, they're so busy spending time thinking about things, or people that are worried or fear, they're spending time focusing on things they cannot control. Look, what can you control? I cannot control whether the SMB will intervene again. That doesn't mean by that fear of worry about that I should be, okay, well then I shouldn't trade because who knows when they're going to do it again. It's ridiculous. There's certain things I cannot control. I cannot control when central bankers speak. I cannot control when brokers change margin requirements or when the China does this or what. I can't. There's so many things regarding events I cannot control. It's completely useless to spend my time in this direction. So people who have confidence, you'll notice they're focusing on things they can control. Like, okay, I can't control, this and this is going to happen. But what I can control is my effort. I can control my mind and my mindset. I can control the things that I execute on. I don't know what the NFP number is, but I can control my stop loss and risk management and position sizing. And there's so many things I can focus on. It is super important that you don't spend time thinking about or get caught up in the things you cannot control, because that will create fear, that will create worry, that will create doubt, and that does not build confidence. But if you focus on the things you can control and you direct your energy towards that, that builds confidence. It's like, look, the situation outside me may or may not be the best situation, but I can make the best of it. This may not be ideal, but I'm going to get every dollar out of this situation. This situation may be painful, but I'm going to make sure that I'm able to make it work somehow. And when you do that, you can never build confidence around things you cannot control. You can only build confidence around two things: the things you can control and how you will react to things you cannot control. Those are the only ways you can build confidence around things you can or cannot control. And when you start to do that, when you start to focus on, I had somebody ask the question, they're like, look, I don't know if the skills I'm building now, I can make money in the future. Like, I don't know if the market's going to change. What do I do then? You have no idea how the market's going to change. No idea. I have no idea personally. I have some relative thoughts and possibilities, but I personally have no idea what the market's going to be like tomorrow, the next day, next month, next year. What I can do is focus on building my skills so that I can adapt to any environment. I can focus on understanding volatility and risk and money management. I can focus on these things. And by directing my attention there, I build these things up. And as they become stronger, that communicates via my self-image confidence that I can handle this situation. I have no idea what the market's going to be in the future. I'm pretty confident I can make money from it, though. And that's something that you can experience. So focusing on what you can control. The third key point in this is visualizing from beginning to end. So going back to contextual experience, there are going to be certain situations that are going to happen in the future that you may not have the experience for. And visualization as a practice can really help with this. How so and why is that? Well, Michael Jordan was very famous for this one quote where he said, I see myself thousands and thousands of times, taking that shot and missing it, falling, making a mistake, getting blocked. But I also visualize myself getting up from that and taking the ball back or getting the rebound and taking the steal and making the next shot. So what is he doing here? He's visualizing a future scenario which is not totally defined. He doesn't know how it's going to play out, but he's doing what is called scenario visualization, where he's visualizing potential scenarios in the future. And you don't have to know exactly how everything plays out. You just have to visualize a scenario that will match something like that. So he's visualizing a scenario that's probably going to happen. And what is he doing? He's visualizing it, how he's going to respond from the challenge, how he's going to respond through the difficulty. And this is very important because a lot of people visualize the scenario with no obstacles, with no problems. That's the whole like BS behind The Secret. You just kind of visualize and put it out there in the universe, all these things you want, and then it's somehow the universe just kind of rains money on you. And that's just not how it works. You visualize from beginning to end what it is that you're going to go through, the things you'll experience in detail, but you do so with the understanding, look, I'm going to face challenges, and you see yourself getting up from those challenges, getting past those obstacles, solving them, overcoming them, going around them, breaking through them, transforming them. You do this because one thing it does is it builds contextual experience ahead of time. So when you are in that situation and it's like things are going against you and you're kind of like, what do I do? You're not having to make a decision in your moment. The brain remembers this visualization. It says, oh, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to get up and I need to go get that rebound, or I need to go steal that ball back, or I need to go do this and make the next shot. Your brain says, I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times before. I know what to do. Even though you've only visualized it, that's the great thing about the brain. The brain's great at a lot of things. One of the things it's not good at doing is distinguishing between visualized experience and the actual experience. That's why a lot of you, when you do Forex Tester 2, it's fake money. Yet you still experience the emotions of potentially losing on that. You still experience the emotions of, is this trade going to work out? Is this the right time to pull the trigger? You experience a lot of the same emotions. That's why when you go to a movie, like I was watching a movie last night, and it was a war movie, and I actually got very sad in it. I know it's not real, but that's part of the brain. The brain isn't good at distinguishing between like actual reality and perceived experience. We know it conceptually, but that's why you can experience a lot of things that are not real and still have a reaction to them. Emotional, psychological, physiological. And this is something that I think is lacking in a lot of visualization practices. A lot of people visualize the success and the red carpet and the photographers and everybody wanting to do interviews about how great you are and everybody patting you on the back because you're like, God's greatest gift to trading and life, and you just do all these great things and everything you do touches to gold and like roses fall from the sky wherever you're. Everybody visualizes that effing scenario. Nobody visualizes the scenario. It's like, okay, this is going to be a lot of hard work, but I'm going to get myself back up. Okay, I made a mistake and I'm going to fix it. Okay, I'm in a losing streak and here's how I'm going to get out of it. Okay, I messed up and I'm going to fight back this way. I got knocked down. Okay, I'm going to get back up. The visualizations have to be, in some senses, real. It's kind of ironic sense, but they have to be as real as possible in the sense of like, look, this is how it's going to, this is the reality of it. You can't visualize a scenario that's completely unreal and then expect your brain to recognize that situation when it doesn't happen, or to be able to know what to do ahead of time when that situation doesn't happen. But if you visualize yourself getting up after being knocked down every single time, your brain will know exactly what to do when that moment happens. You have to build, and again, this helps build contextual experience ahead of time. The more detail you do this, the better. The more you visualize this from beginning to end, the better. A lot of people who are successful today, you'll hear them say, yeah, this is how I saw it playing out. I saw this ahead of time. There was one thing I like about mixed martial arts is because you'll see a lot of these people talk about how, in very vivid detail, how they see the fight playing out, and then the fight plays out that way. Because when the situation happened, their brain knew exactly what to do in that situation. They didn't have to like come up with an answer in real time and then worry about not knowing what to do. No, they just knew what to do. And you'll see, current champions and past champions say like, yeah, I've been visualizing this in my head every single day for the last 2 years. I see myself wearing this belt. I see myself doing this to him. I see myself doing that. I see myself overcoming this. Greater detail in visualization is an important variable. Why is that? Because the more detail we use, the more sense faculties and neural real estate we activate while doing this visualization. And the more of that we activate, the stronger these visualizations get imprinted into our brains, into our neural structures. If I have an experience and it doesn't activate much in my brain, it's probably not going to wire too deeply into my brain. But if I have an experience that like reminds me of a very intense personal experience, that simple experience by itself is now going to wire itself deeper because I'm pulling in neural networks and neurons and neural activity from large real estate and things that have emotional and huge kind of energetic consequences for me. So now a simple event becomes way more important in my brain, and it imprints deeper, it wires deeper into my brain. Greater detail does this. And so by seeing more details in the visualization, that really, really helps to wire it deeper into our brains. And that's what we're trying to do, wire successful habits deeper into your brain. So these are the 3 tips that you can use to help build confidence for success in trading in life and build it as a part of your mindset to where it's just there. I personally, as someone who wasn't confident in myself and knowing what kind of torture that was, to know I had greater ability, to know I could do more than I am and play better than I was and perform better than I had, to know that but not be able to activate it was a personal torture. It was really a torture. To feel certain things, the capacities, abilities, but not be able to fully activate them or activate them consistently, that was torture. We all want to be able to activate our potential and to be able to act upon and engage and apply our abilities to their maximum level, or at least to a high level. Nobody likes to underperform. Nobody. It doesn't feel good to anybody. Many of you either know, believe, or have a suspicion that you could be performing better than you are now, but you're not. I understand on a very personal level from decades of experience what that is like. And it is not fun. And I can tell you there's nothing more gratifying than being able to finally perform at your abilities, to what you know is possible for you, to being able to have confidence that not only am I doing what I need to, but I will in the future do what I need to. And I will perform in the way I need to. And maybe I don't necessarily win the next trade or win the next day or week or month, but I know that what I'm doing is moving everything in the right direction. And it's just a matter of time. That is a very important thing for you to experience. I want you to experience. I want you to have that to where it's just a staple in your life. And I'm willing to bet the things you'll think, you'll experience, you'll feel, your self-image, they will all start to expand in positive ways that not only help your trading, but your life as well. And they'll help the people around you. They will benefit yourself and those around you in so many ways. This is something you should have. There is no reason why you shouldn't feel confident in success, in trading, in life. So these are these 3 tips. I hope you find these useful. And to be honest, this is like a fraction. And then when I say a fraction, I mean a fraction of one lesson in the ATM course. So if you're wanting to learn more about this, definitely check that out. I mean, this is like a snippet. It's just a teaser. And there's so much more in that course. And there's 20 other lessons that are exponentially larger than what you've just learned here. So I hope you found this useful. I will look forward to your comments and questions. And if anything, I look forward to you becoming more confident in your self-image, in your mindset, and in trading in life.